I can't wait to introduce to you or reintroduce to you my good friend and the newly named co-leader for True Voice Podcasting 3, as well as soon to be announced True Voice Broadcasting for the graduates of TVP. So Ken D. Foster was introduced to me, and Ken D. Foster is an extraordinary individual who's been in media broadcasting for more than a quarter century. Ken D. Foster is someone who recognizes this industry at a level that very few do. And not only that, it's an industry that has him loading up an incredible podcast each and every week called Voice of Courage. I had the grand opportunity to be a guest on Mr. Foster's show, and it was just, I think I spoke to it earlier today. It was just an experience above all others. There was an experience of being cared for as a guest that was different than any other podcast that I had ever been on. We spoke about important things. We did so succinctly. We addressed important issues, and it was crisp and clean. And I later learned, as I no surprise at all, is that Ken has not only a show where he gets to interview some of the top line players in the world, but a show that is sustainable and scalable and even lucrative and distributed to, what is it, Ken, 185 countries each time you broadcast it?
That's right.
That's what we're talking about. So without further ado, what I really want to do is introduce you to my good friend and my true mentor, Ken D. Foster. Ken, welcome to the True Voice Podcasting Summit. It is fabulous to have you here as a keynote. Thank you for agreeing to come on.
Dr. Fred, thank you for having me, and I'm excited to share some knowledge of the industry with everybody today. By the way, for those of you that are just getting to know me, Dr. Fred kept saying Ken D. Foster, and that is my brand today. It's my brand only because when I Googled my name, one person, Ken Foster, had a dog book, which is great, but it wasn't my brand, and he was at the top of Google. And another guy was getting out of prison in Texas for murder. And I thought, I don't know if I want my name branded that way. I think I'm going to go Ken D. Foster. So that's what we did.
I've always wondered about how you got that D in there, and it makes sense. There's nothing wrong with getting out of prison in Texas, by the way. If I was in prison in Texas, the next thing I would want for my life is to get out of prison in Texas. So, good for that guy to get out of prison. He might not be such a bad guy.
Good for that guy. I don't know if he got out or not, but I hope he did. And, the dog book guy I know is doing really well with dog books. So I'm happy for him. So they both got Ken Foster.
That's fabulous.
All right. So for those of you that are getting to know me, my show is syndicated in 185 countries. We're on podcast. We're on AM, FM. We are on streaming TV, and we're also on cable TV, regional cable TV. And Dr. Fred, you don't know this. I just picked up another national TV distribution for my show. So that's kind of where I am. But of course, I didn't start that way. I started just like a lot of you, sitting around wondering, do I have a voice? Will I be able to express my voice? And I actually started out in radio in San Diego, KCBQ. I was asked to be a co-host on the show, which is not a bad strategy for some of you, by the way, thinking about maybe having a co-host to help you through the first few months of the show. But anyway, that's how I started. When I was in the studio in San Diego, I noticed that that's all they did was radio. And I thought, well, at least I'd like to start streaming on Facebook. And so I brought that actually to the KCB studios there in San Diego, KCBQ. And we started doing Facebook streaming with my show. And then I set a goal that it was a pay to play with KCBQ. We were paying them $2,500 a month at the time to be on the station. And I thought, well, I own my own content. Why don't I distribute it? Why don't I syndicate it? And so I decided to do that. And I put together a team around me that knew a whole bunch more about radio than I did. And we ended up on 100 different stations. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do podcasts. And I put a bunch of people around me for podcasting, and they helped me to learn about podcasting. And then I've done the same thing with TV I put together a mastermind group for TV. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because this is a collaborative, not only collaborative community with Dr. Fred, but it's a collaborative industry. Mm-hmm. So this is an industry that I want you to start thinking about, maybe collaborating with other people to, to connect your show on. Today, I really wanted to start out a little bit with talking about how you can make money with your podcast. How cool is that? Fred said that I'm sustainable. Well, I'm sustainable because when that lady asked me to come on, my co-host in San Diego, she asked me to come on with her and pay the station $2,500. I told her no. I said, I need to put a business plan together first to get sponsors before I come on and spend that kind of money. So I'm a business guy. I'm a business strategist. I've been coaching and mentoring for about 26 years. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had many businesses. So I knew that if this is going to be sustainable, you have to treat it like a business. So one of the first things I did with this lady is we put together a plan of how to get people to pay for our show. Now, some of you maybe are already doing that. We started out in a pay-to-play model. So guests would come on our show and they would pay us to be on the show. It was $125 at the time to be on our show. And for that, we put together a media marketing package. And I'm going to show you my first media marketing package. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully it's going to work. We're going to be able to bring that up for you. Let's see if I can do this. And I'll show you what I did because some of you are going to want to do the same type of thing. Let's see. Share screen, multiple. Okay, there we go. Not sure why that's not working yet. It's sharing options. Share. Yeah, I don't know why that's not working, Fred. I can't share my screen to this group.
Let's see. Katie?
Try again, please.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All righty. All right, let's try again. Yeah, it's not seeming to work for me here.
Are you clicking on the little arrow next to where it says screen share?
Okay, I found it. Okay, here we go. All righty. So I'm going to bring up first slide here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you. This was my first slide package that I made for sponsors, right? And so it says media marketing package from 1,200. Now, this isn't what I gave the pay-to-play people, okay, the pay-to-play, but it ties in with the pay-to-play, and I'll tell you why in a second here. But here's what I put together to get sponsors. So the show is recorded and edited on KCBQ, okay, so that's one of the benefits. Show is streamed live on Facebook. A professionally produced podcast hosted on Voices of Courage. So I had my own site that we hosted this on. Let's see, Facebook picture and show is posted on 4 Facebook sites with 30,000 followers. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, we put it on. Twitter had 80,000 followers at the time. And we did press releases to 3,000 media sites, which is a service that a company provided for me. And then we had access to the Voices of Courage Resource Center. And we had, I was giving my guests access to other podcast shows at the time and 30-day access to, let's see, what was that? 30-day access to event planners looking for speakers. Okay. So I'm only showing you this for a reason. Something went off here. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm showing this because what I want you to think about for your own sponsor pack is some of the gifts, talents, and abilities and creative ways that you can think outside the box to have a sponsor come on your show. Okay. Now that was a $1,200 package, right? We also had sponsors that's a media marketing package. Then we had the advertising on the show package, and we had a sponsor on the show package, and we had a co-host. So people could actually come in and co-host the show with me for $3,500. So think about it this way. Think about what you're right now, and some of you are brand new. I get it. This is like, oh my gosh, do I have to really even do this? Well, I want you to be sustainable. And listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's step by step by step. This took me a while to put this first package together. Okay. So I'm showing my first one that we created about 4 years ago. So this isn't where we are today, but this is where we started from. Okay. So we also did things like we put static banner ads on our Voices of Courage website. And what I did is I also, since I'm a coach and a business strategist, I would actually give the coaching session to some of our sponsors, right? How cool is that? What are your gifts and talents and abilities that you can do to bring sponsors onto your show? That's what I really want you to start to think about and start to open up your mind to be able to do that. All right. Fred, do you have any questions on that right now?
No, I'm just blown away by the brilliance. I think that basically what we're looking at here is it's just another way to look at this, that, the standard way to look at this doesn't even include the creation of a package like this, or somehow making money on the front edge of creating an actual broadcast, like just putting together a polished looking package. I'm ready to buy into one of those just immediately. Like, oh yeah, can I be there? It's like something very attractive and legitimizing about doing that. What was your experience when you opened that up to the public?
We got great results. So what happened is first of all, what it did was help me get really clear with what the gifts, the talents, the abilities, what we really have to offer the public. So even if you're starting your podcast, I work with Cindy. I don't know if she's here today, but I work with Cindy, one of your, there she is, Cindy Sobey. Hi, Cindy. And I told Cindy, I said, listen, man, we want your show to be sustainable. I want you to do a couple things. I want you to, first of all, make a commitment that, when this show is a 1-year commitment, no matter what you do with your podcast, come on and commit to doing it for a year, no matter what. Why do I say that to people? Because I know the first year is a little difficult for all of us. It's challenging. We got a whole bunch of stuff to learn. The learning curve is steep, but the payoff is incredible. So I hope you'll make that commitment. Next thing I asked her to do, I said, Cindy, make a list of some of the show titles that you might want to have, right? And then make a list of some of those people that you'd like to have on your show that you already know. And I wanted to get her excited, right? I want to get you excited. And the next thing is, I didn't tell her this, but I'm going to tell you this. Once you have your show name, your mission, you're actually ready to start thinking about advertising and sponsors. You're ready to start doing that. So maybe today is the day you think about, well, if I had an advertiser or a sponsor on my show, who would they be? Then once you do that, make your list. Maybe you have 1 or 2 or 3, some ideal people, maybe 10. Stretch yourself. But after you have that, the next step is to think about what your sponsor, or advertiser, we'll get into the details of both of that in a little while, but what your sponsor package might look like. What can you bring to the table, right? And listen, when I started out, I was doing a lot of collaboration with people. I found people that would email for me. When I got large sponsors, they would email their database for me to let their database know about this sponsor, or the sponsor and or guest being on my show. I had people that would tweet their social media for me. Again, collaboration when they would come on my show, right? So when you think about somebody really cool coming on your show, right? Don't think about, oh, I only have a small database, or I only have You know, I don't have any social media. Forget about that. You know, people that have social media, you know, people that have large databases that might be able to support you, you know, when you get a big guest. I know I got Robert Kiyosaki on my show recently. And Robert Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's pretty well known out there, you know. And fortunately, you know, with Robert, I was able to, you know, collaborate with some people to get his name out in the world on my show, right? So not only did it support the show to grow our databases, but it also supported Robert Kiyosaki to come back on my show, right? So, but I've had a lot of those guys. So, you know, I always try to create, I always think in my mind, win, win, win. They win, I win, and our community wins, right? They win, I win, and our community wins. So always think in those terms. All right, so, but Fred's right about creating a package and making it look professional. What happened for us is all of a sudden we started getting not only pay-to-play guests, we started getting sponsors in our show very quickly. In fact, my first sponsor paid me $2,500. I will say this, that was a sponsor that was not necessarily, he wasn't really looking for 10,000 downloads a month or a lot of distribution back to him. What he was looking for, he was a friend. He wanted to support the show and grow the show. So who do you know out there that, you know, might be somebody that is a kind of a family and friend sponsor for you, that you would go out and ask them to support your show in the first few months to get it up and running? You know, some of you are thinking, wow, you know, I might have somebody like that. There's, you know, I'll say this. If you have a really good show name and mission, and you feel it in your heart, you feel like, you know, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to do this. I've got my year commitment. When you talk to other people and you tell them about your show, they're going to feel that energy and they're going to want to contribute to you. So make it available for them to contribute. If you don't have a sponsor package, then you'll never get a sponsor. So I hope that you will. I will say this about podcasting, and I'm going to say why I'm on not only podcasts, but AM, FM, and streaming. So podcasting is typically advertisers or sponsors are looking for number of downloads. You guys know that, right? Okay. So so if your show's starting out and you don't have many downloads, what do? Well, there's a couple other ways you can go. I know that there's and I introduced Fred, I think his last class, we brought in one of my distributors who has a distribution on AM and FM. And right now, that particular, well, let me make my point. So AM and FM is not, advertisers don't look for downloads, they look for reach, okay? So for instance, in San Diego, we had about 3 million people. So the reach of the show had a potential to reach 3 million people. Now that show in my time slot on that channel at the time wasn't 3 million. So we extrapolated how many people we believe my show was hitting every month or every week on the airwaves. And then we put that in part of my sponsor package, right? Because I didn't have a lot of downloads. I was just starting out in podcasting. All right. So there's ways around this. Sometimes, and here's what I want to say to you too. Right now, for about $100 a month, there are shows, radio stations that are looking for you right now across the nation. So let's say you bring in a sponsor that's in Atlanta, Georgia, and you know it's and that person wants to you to advertise in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, listen, if they're paying you, let's say a couple $1,000s a month, you could surely take $100 a month and pay a radio station and get yourself a nice time slot on that station to advertise that show, right? So there's ways that we can do this business that I'm sure nobody's talked about yet. But that is available. And of course, that's available for anybody that comes into the advanced class with Fred. Whether he wants to make all of that available to all you, I don't know. But I'm here to teach it. I want you to know that it is available. There are people out there that will specialize for you, that they are. I have a lady that I hired about 2 years ago. And what she does is she goes out and finds networks to put my show on. How cool is that? Imagine you being able to do that. Now, for some of you, that might be a little advanced. I get it, especially when you're starting out. But I want you to think about the overall where your show could be in 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. So if you're doing your show and you really want to make it really amazing, then of course the commitment is there. You got to stick with it. I will say this, the Edison research, I saw this on the internet a couple of days ago. I wasn't aware of this. It says that Edison research found that 44% of people pay more attention to advertising on podcasting than on any other media. They also said that 70% have considered a new product or service after hearing an ad on a podcast that they regularly listen to. That's kind of cool to know, right? So there are people that are buying, that are listening to podcast advertising, and of course they're buying products and services on podcasting. All right. What do I want to share? Fred, you got any questions so far?
I do. I just want to make another statement, get your view on this. It's similar to the last question I had, which goes like this. It seems to me that if you put together a package and you're actually charging, pay to play, or you have sponsors who are dropping 4 figures per episode or per month on, making sure that your podcast works, and then sharing their mail list or their own, sharing their guest mail list. As a function of that, it moves the whole game up. I know that if I'm playing on somebody who's actually got the audacity to charge me to be a guest, I'm expecting a higher level. In other words, it seems like you actually attract bigger guests by charging. In some ways, that if you're going to keep it free, if you're going to keep it non-lucrative, then anyone can come on, you can get, and it doesn't seem like that's a premium offer. It's as soon as one declares out loud that I'm going to charge you to be a guest on my show, I'm kind of stating out loud that I run a Cadillac. We have a Rolls Royce here. That's what it takes. To be on my show, you have to pay, or, we have a sponsor. That it upgrades the whole game just by making that decision. I think most of us think you have to earn that status in order to upgrade the game, but I wonder if it's really working in the other direction.
Well, let me just answer that for you. Remember I said we charged the first pay-to-play guest $125. Okay, so when I made the sponsor pack, right, we went from $125 when I called it my media marketing package to $1,200. So we went immediately to a $1,200 program, right? So it makes a huge difference, and I will say that. Let me get out of this here real quick. Here it is. I will say that as soon as you up your game, what happens is Providence moves with you, right? And here's how it works. I've been working in the coaching industry for, like I said, 26 years. I've upped my fees time and time again in that business. And for me, here's how it works, is that as soon as I up my fees, the first 1 or 2 people say no, but then the third or fourth one say yes. And now I've set a new standard for my fees. And I've been doing that with our, with sponsorship. I started out at that $3,500. I didn't get 35. I got 25. Hey, I'll take that, right? So I negotiated it. And then, I went from 2,500 up to 5,000, up to 10,000. Every time, certain, people come in and say, no, that's too much. But then the next one would. So think about that while you're doing this. Years ago, I worked with Tony Robbins, right? Tony hired me when I was dead broke. Not sure why he hired me, but they told me I beat out 500 people to go and to get the position, which anyway, I was with him for about a year. One of the things that Tony taught me was it's been invaluable for my life, is that he said, Ken, when you do a good job at stuff, and a lot of you people are doing a good job, you get poor results. If you do a great job, you'll get good results. But if you do an outstanding job, you'll get it all. You'll have it all. So, and I'm going to share my screen one more time with you, as I want to show you if I can get out of this one here. Let's see here. How do I get out of this? Oh, I see. Okay. So I want to show you where we are today. So today, our show looks like this. Okay, this is the slide deck that I use to talk to guests with today. Let's see if we can make this thing move. All right, so I'm going to show you our deck, what it looks like. Voice of Courage is a power pack radio, TV, AM, FM podcast, live streaming show where audiences engage to expand possibilities and transform their lives. Our 2 30-minute weekly shows are educational, inspiring. So I gave them a description of the show. And next I tell them a little bit about where we are. Okay, 16 major networks, 270 broadcasting stations, 185 countries, AM, FM, podcast, live streaming. I tell them a little bit where we are: RCN cable network, E360, Las Vegas TV network, Roku, YouTube, Amazon, Android, Apple TV, Binge TV. We just added a new one yesterday. Radio stations, we've got 18 radio stations we're on podcast networks. Now this one down here, you can all put this on. As soon as you're on Spotify, you're on most of these, okay? You won't be on iHeart, but you'll be on a lot of these, SoundCloud, Libsyn. Social media, we stream. And again, oops, let's see if I can go back there and slide. Social media streaming, okay? So I want you to just kind of look at that, because this is maybe where some of you are going. We combine terrestrial radio, podcast streaming, internet video for a total advertising effect. So here's what I tell them: we're going to increase your local and national, international visibility. And Podcast International, a lot of these you guys take a picture of the slide. You can use a lot of these bullet points in your presentation. All right. Reach your audience frequently, cost effective, time efficient, tweeted to blah, 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 blah. All right. So that's what we're doing. And then just contact me. It's a very brief deck, right? But it's very effective, because it's not so much about what it looks like. About what it says. I'm a living brochure for this deck. And so for you, what I want you to do is I want you to think about taking your professionalism, going out and getting a professional headshot like I've done, right? Doing the graphics here, professional graphics. So this thing, your podcast looks really tight. Looks like you know what you're doing. Okay. Questions, Dr. Fred?
No, it's amazing material. Let's see if we have any questions from the viewer base, from the participants, the attendees of this course right now. Anything that's coming up for anyone yet, or we can ask Ken to continue. This is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant material. All right, Ken, you're on. Okay. Keep going.
All right. So how do we get there? So
we got Dorothy Torrey.
Okay, Dorothy, go ahead. I see. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Dorothy.
Thank you for being part of our True Voice podcasting. It's great to have you. My question is, most of us are beginners. Does anyone do any hand holding? I know you're going to be part of our team, but let's say you say, go out and do this, go out and do this. And all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed with what I'm doing already. So
Absolutely. Hand holding is part of this business.
Okay, great. Okay.
So, yeah, absolutely. And we'll have more to come on that, on what the hand holding kind of looks like. Dr. Fred and I are designing that right now, along with Sean. So, but just know that you're not going to be, create a podcast and just left alone. You can't do it alone. It's a collaborative business, and we all need to step up and help each other. But thank you for asking that, Dorothy. And I don't want to get way ahead of you, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with my presentation. I'm trying to show you where you can go. That's it, where this can go. And I want to inspire. Some of you are already like going, yeah, I know what I need to do now. I need to up it. Others are like Dorothy. It's like, okay, well, let's see, what do I do first? Well, we got the podcast name, we got our mission. Now we might want to record a podcast first, so I can start to feel what it feels like to be on stage, to be out there. After that, okay, maybe I'm going to hire a graphic designer to create a graphic for me to represent my show, my brand. Maybe I'll do a website, an inexpensive website in the beginning. Okay, I mean, you can go to Wix and do automated ones for very inexpensively, or you can hire somebody to put together a web page for you for $750 to maybe $1,500. You want to do it yourself. Then after that, it's like, okay, well, who's going to edit my show? Well, that's. I'm going to tell you a secret right now, what I use. My whole team is built on a platform called Upwork, UPWORK. I've hired a lot of people from Upwork over the years. And for me, I found that the Indians from India are incredibly brilliant. They are very honoring. Most of them say yes, sir, no, sir. They're very old, traditional. And they're about a quarter of the price that I was paying in the United States. They work when I'm not working, okay, because they're about 12 hours difference from us. And so I tell them what I want in the evening, in the morning, everything's created. So that's how I do it, right? So I put together an Indian team. I have editors. I have for the audio and editors for the video. I have branding experts in India. I have accounting that I use. All my accounting moved to India, right? So So I just want to let you know you can do this smart, and you can do it really effective and create a world-class podcast to get your voice heard around the world. You can do it. You can all do it. Just don't give up. No matter what you do, don't give up. Make that 1-year commitment and stick with that no matter how. Again, the learning curve is steep. So it was for me, it is for everybody, but anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. And sometimes it might kick your butt a little bit, like it did me many times. And sometimes you'll be surrounded by people that are really, you feel like, God, I know I felt like less than them. I didn't know they knew, but I just stood there and just thought, we all put our pants on the same way. I'll get there. They'll help me and I'll help you. So that's kind of where I am with that. Hope that helps. All right, what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about too was your show itself and creating. I'm going to show you what I created with my show. So we need to, eventually your first podcasts are going to be easy. You're not going to have a lot of technical things. You're just going to record, and that's just what I did, right? I didn't do anything that I do today, pretty much. But then I got smart and I started figuring out, if I'm going to have really good guests on my show, I need to think about how the show is going to be structured. And so I thought about how to do that. And somebody told me about a show clock in radio. Anybody heard about show clocks, what that is? Okay, we got Katie knows what that is. All right. So basically, a show clock is just mapping out your your intros and outros, your advertising, your mid rolls, your end rolls, your time that you're going to talk for interviewing your guest, and that type of thing. All right. Might sound complicated, but it's really not. I'm going to show you what I did originally, just so you can see where I started and where you might be able to start. Let me see if I can share this screen again with you. Okay, let's see if I can get out of this. Maybe, I'm not sure. There we go. Okay. All right, so here's where I started. And so I started with the show outcome. What did I want to have for the outcome for my show? This is an outline, okay, but I call it's my show clock. I had my recording date, the title of the show, all right, guest number 1, guest number 2. All right, and then I made a little sheet for me, and I used this for about a year and a half, 2 years. Segment 1, it was 12 minutes, right? So I would have an intro. Hi, welcome to the show. This is Ken D. Foster, blah, blah, blah. I start the show with the, well, actually, prior to that, I always have a 30-second countdown that I use for my show. So I have a system. Systems are really smart when you're doing this over and over again. So I press a little button that countdowns to 30 seconds. Then I play the show opener. And then I have an advertisement for my book, Courage to Change Everything. By the way, if you haven't got my book, I encourage you to check it out at couragetochange.us. It'll help guide you step by step every day. It's daily strategies and essential wisdom to awaken your inner genius. So I play the commercial, and then I do the show introduction. I do a monologue. And then I bring on, and then I play another little commercial. Then I do my first commercial, sorry. I do a commercial. And then I play the transition bumper that brings me back into the show. And then I'll do a small little monologue and bring in the guest. So when I say take a break, okay, we play the transition bumper. Now, I created this for I had a fellow working with me at the time, and I'd say, when I say break, we play this bumper. Okay, segment 2. All right, I play another ad. Okay, this happens to be an ad at the time for my wife's company, Women's Wisdom. And some of you ladies might want to check that out. It's womenswisdom.net. She has amazing authors, speakers, and trainers, all for women, once a month on the second Thursday of the month, between 11 and 1 o'clock. Some of the 2 years ago, you had not 2. That must be 5 now. 5 years ago, you had to have you had to be on Oprah as before you would be invited to be a speaker on her events, and she still has that quality of speaker, just so you know. But anyway, segment 2. So we play my commercial again. I play transition, reintroduce the show topic, introduce the guest. Okay, take a break. So you can see I just created a structure for this. Okay, segment 3. And in segment 3, I do a live read. All right. So in podcasting and radio or whatever we're going to do, we're always going to have either we're going to either have a host read commercial, or we're going to have a dynamically inserted commercial. Right. All right, so this is my live read. I truly thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate you letting your friends, family know about the show, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you may want to put that in your show clock. I did, because I would forget it. That's why I put it in there. Live read by Ken. Then I reintroduce the show, reintroduce the guest, take a break, da-da-da. Segment 4. This is an hour show, by the way. Another 12 minutes. Okay, so I'm timing each one of these segments, by the way, while I'm on the show. So kind of the same thing, repeat it again, and then the last 12 minutes, then I do a live read commercial. If you're enjoying the stories of courage and insights of Voice of Courage, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss the show. Check out our affiliates, UK Health Radio, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I always put that in there, and then I close the show I bring the guests back, spotlight the videos, say thank you. And I tell people to order my latest book, encourage them to subscribe. We're all interested in what you have to say. So send your questions and comments to Voices of Courage. So that's what I'm doing every show, right? Okay. So I hope that gives you some insights and maybe how to outline your show clock for your show. Okay. All right. I'm going to open up the questions or thoughts or comments. Oh man.
And you make it look so easy. I guess that it really is, as long as you're taking important intentional steps forward to make the show have a structure, to make a show have a purpose, to make a show have an intention. If in fact what we're looking to do is broadcast to a wide audience, there's a way to do that. If in fact you want your customer or your guests to feel cared for, which I already stated, I've never felt cared for as much as I did on your show as a guest, then that gets done. The whole thing, it's like one refined package of creating a premium delivery system.
Exactly. And one of the things I do on my show, which for me took courage in the beginning, but I set intention or say a prayer with my guests prior to each show. So I think I've had people that are very spiritual. I've had atheists. I've had everything in between, and everybody seems to go along with it, right? So. Well, of course they'll go along. It's my show. If they want to be on it, they get to be with me. But I set intention so that I know that energy is there, that power, that passion that's coming through me is right there. We're setting intention. So that's how I start all my shows. And I'm going to give you a little tip, fun way to get sponsors. So when I started in radio, somebody said to me, if you want to get sponsors, why don't you just invite them to lunch after the radio show? So they'd come in live in the studio and I'd take them to lunch across the street. We'd go to a Chinese restaurant and I'd sit down and talk to them, find out about them, build a relationship. And then I'd talk to them about being a sponsor on the show. That's how I got my sponsors for my radio show, right? So I'm just, it's from my point of view, it's always give first. And then, then if I have an ask, I'll ask. But I do the same thing now with my shows. When I bring on somebody I think would be an ideal sponsor, after the show, I preset it. I let them know that I'd like to talk to you after the show. And then I go into and I tell them about my sponsor packages. That's how I got all my sponsors. Okay. Simple.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
Okay.
Jackie Simmons, let's see what you have to say.
Hey, it's lovely to meet you. And Dr. Fred, as always, this is an amazing venue. So Kendi Foster, Dr. Fred has told me a lot about you. I'm in TVP1, just for context.
Cool.
When you showed your slide deck and you said, this is how you started with your show clock.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Oh, thank you. Well, I've been doing it for quite a while now. So what I have done now is, let me show it to you. I'll show you where I am now.
Awesome.
Okay, hold on.
I was hoping you would do that.
I have to pull it up here before.
And while you're pulling it up, you gave the information about your wives, Women of Wisdom, second Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I just don't know what time zone that is.
That's Pacific time zone, and maybe somebody put it in the chat. It's womenswisdom.net.
Yeah,
womenswisdom.net. If you go there, you can look at the what we have up there right now.
Cool. I loved her criteria. I mean, that's like really simple and easy. She knows who she's reaching out to, and of course, Katie took care of getting it into the chat.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All righty. Let's see if I can give you I'm going to show you two pieces here.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. And while you're pulling that up, actually, one of my friends, Barbara, put a question into the chat about, she asked, would you keep your podcast website separate from your business, or would you integrate your podcast website into your business website?
I have mine integrated. I think it really depends on what your business is. If your podcast is, let's say, on selling popsicles and your business is real estate, I don't think the two might not mix, but mine do. Mine work well. So I have a page on my business site, and I have a separate Voices of Courage podcast. Okay, so I have two websites. They interlink though.
Got it. So there's an integration between the two.
There's an integration between the two. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really clear. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so let me share my screen and answer your question really quick here. Where I am today. All right, where I am today is I broadcast on a platform called StreamYard. I used to do Zoom.
Okay. We are, just so you'll know, we're seeing your email.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway. All right. So here's, okay. So I'm going to show you this. Let's see if I can close this. All right. This is the outline that I use to create every show right now. All right. This is what I use. That's all I use. Show time, show name, guest name, email, summary, bio, and talking points. So, and the reason I don't put in all the intros and outros and bumpers and all of that is because they're in StreamYard and they're played the way I record my show today. There's very little editing. Everything is it's live, and we're inserting the intros and the outros and the mid rolls and the commercials as I'm going. So it's very little editing. It's very easy to do. But this is the outline I use. And then this is what it looks like when it's filled out. Okay.
Thank you.
So that's all I do.
All right. So I'm going to ask, because I'm in that place of pain where I'm needing to hire VAs and train them and stuff. I'm assuming that you're not filling this in.
I do my own show. I do fill this in.
Oh, really?
I do. Yeah. Now, Where do I get it from? Is a good question though. Okay. That's
what my next question was. You must be psychic.
No, I have a producer that contacts our all of our guests and gets me all this information, right? So I do this myself because I want to be associated and connected with each show. Does that make sense? I mean, yeah, I suppose I could not, have somebody do this. It'd be very easy, right? But I do it myself, and it takes me exactly this. Right now, it takes me between 2 and 3 hours per week to do 2 shows. That's how much time I have invested. Okay.
So when you say you do this yourself, meaning you're pulling the information from a spreadsheet that your producer created, or you're talking to the guest in advance?
My producer talks to the guest in advance, and then we have a template that we ask the guest for this information, right? Mm-hmm. Not the name of the show. I name the show. We ask them, for their email, their website, show summary. I do. This show summary will go on all the podcasts out there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then the broadcast bio. I have to tell you, I always ask the guests for a broadcast bio, but nobody, even the top PR agencies that are working with these guests, very few of them know what a broadcast bio is for whatever reason. A broadcast bio is not your one-page bio, people. It is just this. This is our show introduction, and this one's actually long. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll have a broadcast bio that I'll read this as the intro, and then when we bring the show back, I'll say Nova specializes in an approach called spiritual alignment, and so it's a second quick blurb about the guest.
You're almost asking for our email signature.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. The broadcast bio is very short. You don't want, nobody has an interest in listening to somebody's bio for very long. Okay.
I agree with that 100%.
All right. So it's like in and out, and that introduced the show. And also, questions and or talking points. Me personally, I prefer talking points, but I still get a lot of questions from guests. So I just work with it. All right. Hope that helps.
That was lovely. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Any other questions while I move on here?
Or you've got two other people in line, but I will just say I have a ton of questions. I'll come back.
For Zika, why don't you go ahead and go and unmute yourself?
I can't. That was a good try. It's Francisca. Sorry.
Francisca. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
it's okay. Most people change it. It's all good. I just laugh about it. My question is, as you grew with your podcast and it takes on a life of its own, how did you deal with that? Because I'm finding as I have 3 episodes from the class, but as I'm doing this, it seems like to morph into something totally else. How do you stay kind of on track or on your mission? Or does it really matter?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
As you start with your 3 pillars, you start with your idea, but as I put my idea out there, it might take on a life of its own, right?
It does take on a life of its own. And I will share this with you. I think it's, it's so important, true voice, finding that true voice and allowing it to kind of bubble up and flow, right? Okay. And it's the same thing with the podcast. It's going to go through ebbs and flows. I'll answer it this way. A lot of times a guest will come on and they will have a certain, a new book, or they'll have a certain theme that they want to talk about. And we end up going a completely different way. But I know for me, it's up to me to create the structure so that their book gets out there, even if they're wandering somewhere else, right? So I always bring them back home so that we can, we talk about, well, tell me the 5 benefits that you have in your book that people would really want to know about, right? And so I bring them back home. As far as, when your podcast takes off, creativity, when we start playing on the creative field of life, it gets very expansive. And so my tip to you is get really clear with that mission and what you like the structure, the system to be, because it will go all over the place. But as long as you have like a little container to keep it in, you'll be able to bring it back home time and time again. Does that help at all?
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Okay. And who else had their hand up? Let's see. Somebody else had. Yeah, go ahead.
Looks like Lynn put her hand down. Give me a second to find her.
Oh, okay. Hi, Lynn. I see Lynn. She's trying to unmute herself, I think. Did you have a question, Lynn?
I didn't have a question as much as I just wanted to thank you for this education, because I was sharing with Dr. Fred a week or so ago that I went back and listened to all of the podcasts I had created in this program. And while I had so much fun with the conversations I was having with people, I was very clear that I needed to create a tighter context to hold the podcast in. And I hadn't even gotten to the point of thinking about how to monetize that. So it's just, I just feel blessed that you showed up when you did, because I can start right from the beginning to do it in a way that really creates something extraordinary for people in the end. So I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Lynn. Well, my comment to that is this: if you're here, there's no coincidence that you're here, and you're learning how to put your voice in the world in a much greater way. And I just say this, that the reason I do my show is why I started my show is I thought to myself, we need more positivity in the world. We need more courage in the world. And I just thought, if my podcast goes out to one person and they connect with me, great. I'm gonna put my voice in the world. And I had no idea it would grow to where it is. But I know that all of you have this amazing voice. All of you do. The voice of the soul that's in there. And we all need to speak words of wisdom, hope, faith, understanding, courage, love, compassion, and wisdom into the world. It needs you right now. So even though it'll be tough for some of you for the first year or so, maybe 2 years, I don't know, maybe 3 years, doesn't really matter. You're all making a difference. You're all difference makers. And I know that if you will follow the formulas that we're giving you here on True Voice podcast, that you will not only be able to get your voice in the world, you'll create a sustainable business that will go forth over time. And some of you, it's going to be harder to get to that sustainability, and others, it's going to be kind of easy. But either way, if you're on the hard side or the easy side, if you follow the formulas that we'll give you, it's going to create a sustainable business. And your voice is going to be heard not for 5 months or 3 sessions or 3 podcasts, but you're going to be out there for a while. You're going to be out there inspiring and helping people, and you're going to sell your products and services. You'll be able to have sponsors sell theirs. You're going to be able to make a difference, right? So it's just my hope for all of you. If you don't give up, if you do anything, it's like keep your commitment to yourself. No matter how hard it gets, just stay in with it. And you'll figure it out. We'll all figure it out. We've got a lot of tools. We've got experts here. I'll be helping you time and time again to take it to the next level. Some of you, I'm talking over your head. Others are like, I've already been there, Ken. You're boring me. But, we'll all get there together. That's my point.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Dr. Fred, any thoughts?
No, just brilliant, and bigger and better than I expected you would be, but I knew you would be that. So that's what happened here in the last hour. Thank you for introducing us to you and to what you're about, and for really gracing the stage with how grateful we all are to have you as part of the core team. As we really, these are massive voices out here, Ken. We've had the opportunity in the last 2 days to listen to 20 graduates so far, and there's still 4 more to go. And these are people who have really, really honed in on what's important to them. And every single one of their messages do to get out there in a way that makes a lot of sense. And if, following a formula and having it work in such a way that not only does it make sense and hit the crowd that they're looking for, but actually creates a revenue stream such that it's something they can do even full time, quit their day job if they want to, and really have this be their dedicated wish and need in the world. You provide a gift that is so extraordinary. So it's a deep honor and gratitude that I thank you for being here in this keynote. Thank you for being here. The next speaker is Sean. I want you to hang around with him because he's actually coming in on the backside of you with his version of something really similar to this. So, and I want to tell, first of all, thank you, Ken. I just want to first get that here.
Well, listen, I'm here to support the all of you that are here, and I want to let you know that my gift is helping you in laying foundation along with Dr. Fred and Sean. My gift is also helping you create the show. And, show descriptions, video intros and bumpers, and show music, and TV production teams and graphics and all that stuff. I have a lot of background in that. I'm here to help you with that. And, if you're going to need, help down the road with, what's the right website, or, how to write copy, your studio lighting, the equipment. I know Sean knows a lot about that too, right? We both do because we've been doing it. We're going to help you with all that. And of course, like we've been talking today, monetizing your show and creating the systems and teams around you. So there's a whole bunch I didn't get to talk to you about today, but we'll be talking to you about it.
Thank you. Yeah. Before we go, Barbara Almer has her hand up. Barbara?
Yes, thank you very much. Ken, I was wondering, would there also be an option where you could combine your podcast with donations? because like if you have a big why that that is to give back, on one hand, I try to do that by having guests that are experts that can help, because I've partnered with a lady in India to help ladies that grow up in Calcutta in the slums. So I was wondering if instead of being paid, first of all, rather have donations to invest into this passion project of mine. So because I help in shelters, and I also do global things. Could that be combined, or is this difficult?
Absolutely. Everything can be combined. Listen, a lot of times a podcast guest can't pay. Okay. So it's not a pay to play, right?
Yes.
Just isn't gonna happen. But I set standards. Okay. And I would encourage you to set standards. Listen, here's a standard you could set. You can, if you have a minimum of 5,000 in your email database, or let's say 10,000 in your social media database, and you're willing to promote the show to your email and social media database, I can have you on my show, and I won't charge you. Now my standards
God, that's amazing.
that, okay, but I would say, and when they say, well, I don't have 5,000 in my email database, I've done this with several guests, and this always seems to work out. Who do you know that has 5,000 in their database, email database, that would promote you being on my show? And that almost always works out. So I'm always looking for the win-win-win. They've got to win, but I got to win too. And our communities have to win. Okay. So I hope that helps out.
A lot. Thank you so very much, Ken.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken. And thank you, Ken. I hope you hang around for Sean.
Yeah, I'll hang around for a little bit. Okay.
Brilliant talk. And I want to tell people to stay tuned. I have a major surprise to announce between now and the end of this conference this afternoon after Sean speaks. I'm putting together a super cool surprise for you. So rest assured, there's a sweet surprise for you. And that includes all the graduates and podcasters out there. And yes, so let's take about a 7-minute break. Thank you, Sean, for being patient over there in the islands outside of Portugal. We're going to start you at about 2:50, Sean, about 10 minutes late. So let's take a 7 or 8 minute break. We'll be back for Sean Offenbach in approximately 8 minutes at 10 minutes to the hour. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Yay. Let's hear it for Ken D. Foster. Yay. And welcome to TVP, Ken. Really beautiful.
Thanks so much.